Hey everybody, it's Marcos. Recently we partnered up with She Happens, who made our lovely tab books for our album Fruit Island. And we're doing a little contest to give away some of those tab books if you learn one of our songs, Special Berry. So I wanted to sit down and just kind of work out the section of the contest that we're going to be doing. So this is going to cover everything that you have to learn for the contest. So I hope you guys can find this helpful and learn the section for yourself and enter the contest. So the tuning is D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. And we'll have a capo on 2. Okay, so I've got a little camera here that's just kind of showing what I'm doing on the guitar, and I've got a front-facing camera here, so you can kind of see what both angles look like. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is playing the chorus, and that is this big chord right here. It's kind of just based on this, and we're pretty much just doing finger picking and a little bit of tapping. So I'm going to do it full speed, and then we're going to break it down. Okay, so let's start with the very first chorus. We've got the main chorus part. So we're using this one big chord here. That's just 5, 5, and 5 on the D, and the A string. So basically we're doing this linear sort of pattern where we're going, moving this chord around. We're moving it to 4 different positions on the guitar. 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, 12th fret. So this is going to be completely finger-picked until we get to the last part where we're going to be doing a little bit of tapping. So let's just break down the first line. We start here, and I'm using all of my fingers kind of in a row, so my thumb is handling the low string. My index, my middle, and my ring are going to handle the D, the F sharp, and the A string. So just start with this position. That's going to get you through most of the song, just doing this one position here. Cool, so let me play the first part slow and then we'll break it down. Cool, so this is not terribly difficult when we just look at it from a rhythmic perspective. The rhythms are actually kind of copy-paste a little bit. So we're going dun 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 dun, and we're doing these little like embellishments. So I'm rolling my fingers, kind of like that. I'm doing little finger-picked rolls, and so we're just gonna kind of keep that energy until we get to the last chord, where we're gonna do this tapping sort of thing. So a little tip about trying to switch from finger picking to tapping: it's gonna be a lot easier if you're closer to the neck. And it is also a lot easier if you're not using a guitar pick. By the way, you could totally use a guitar pick here. I'm not using one because I don't use one on the song, but feel free to. So let me play it a little bit faster and let me show you how to put this stuff into action. So I'm really just using these couple fingers here, and I'm reaching over just to do that little tapping thing. But this is a section that you want to start with slow, because if you get this down really well, then the next section is not going to be terribly difficult. So the next section is pretty similar to the one before it. These are the next 4 lines of the song. The only difference is we're going to add a little bit of range. We're going to go and use some artificial harmonics at the end as the tag, kind of the ending of that section. So the second section goes something like this. So since the second part is very similar to the first part, the only difference that I want to kind of hone in on is that artificial harmonic thing. So basically what I'm doing is I'm playing this sort of riff, and then I'm adding these artificial harmonics, which I'm doing by plucking up here by using my index finger, and then my thumb comes down here to kind of do a little pluck. And I'm doing that an octave up. So the notes are... So the notes are this. It's 4, 5, and then I take that 4 on the D string and I slide it to the 7th fret and I pull off. So instead of doing it like that, I'm going to pluck the first 2 notes artificially. So it's going to sound like this. So it's a little tricky, and I definitely struggle with it from time to time, but it sounds so cool that I couldn't help myself. So let me play the whole section again, but let me play it a little bit more at tempo. So now when we play the first two sections together, that's going to be the first 4 lines and then the second 4 lines, so the first 8 lines all together. I also forgot to mention that there's a little ending tag there, so after you do that little artificial harmonic thing, we're gonna do you're gonna use your thumb, just a little hit, and then just a slide. Kind of just gets us where we need to go next. Okay, so the last little bit here that we're working on is just the thumping bit, and then there's gonna be a lot of tapping, so I would say this is a little harder than the section before. But fear not, I'm going to break it down. So we're going to be doing a lot of thumping now. This is a technique that I've talked about a little bit before. So if you're not familiar with thumping, that's okay. I can show you how to do it, but if you don't really know how to do it and you don't really have the time to learn it, that's okay. You can use a pick and actually just substitute all of the up and down strokes of the thump for the picking. So just do that if you're not really up for learning an entire new technique for this contest. Okay. So basically I'm just going to be thumping, which is just an up and down motion with my thumb. And I'm going to be thumping this passage here. I'll play it at full speed, and then I'll play it at half speed, and we'll kind of break it down. Cool, so that's the tricky sort of section. I'm just going to break down these rhythms really quick. Okay, so you kind of just want to keep the consistent thumping up and down, and we're actually kind of trading off between our right hand and our left hand. So I do a double thump, and then I do this power chord up here. So that's the 2 and the 4, which is actually kind of an extension of the intro of the song. So once we do this part, we go immediately into the next sort of phrase. And we only do one just down thump there. So I'm just doing these little accents in between my little hammer-ons. So here's the first bar of that. And then the second part is just the same as the first part. So we go like this. Except it changes a little bit right here. So right there, we're preparing for a little bit of a triplet hit thing that we do with the drums. And so I'm going. And then the third part of that goes something like this. And so you're kind of just trying to balance your right hand with your left hand here. So we have 2 hits here, and then 2 hits with the left hand. And similarly, 1 hit here, and then 2 hits here, 1 hit here, 2 hits here. We go 2 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So now the last bit is kind of the most challenging part here, because we have to do a quick little maneuver. So basically what I'm doing is kind of the thumping part from before, but then I'm going to bring my hand over and do some quick bass notes while I'm doing a walking bass line up, or a walking melody line up, which it sounds a lot harder than it is, or maybe it sounds exactly as hard as it is. Let me try to play it a little bit slower for you. So this is a section, like all of these parts, you should be playing them really slow because it's definitely doable. And what you just need to do is kind of just concentrate on how the notes are going to line up with each other. So for that tapping section especially, we're kind of switching into a polyphony. So we're going to need to really focus on how these notes work together. So let me break it down really slow and you can kind of see exactly where I'm hitting my right hand, my left hand. So yeah, that's my little tutorial, and I hope that you guys have a good time learning this song. Just remember to work it out slowly and speed it up, and I'm looking forward to all of your submissions. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. Good luck, happy practicing, and I will see you soon.